Wait. Hello. Yes, I'm live. Aha, it's worked. Good evening from the UK. I'm Gloria, and this is Open Minds Chat Show, and we are live today. Um, I have an amazing guest that's going to share her amazing journey. But before we get there, I would like to do some self promoting here. As you know, most of you will know by now because I've put it out there. I've created an Open Minds podcast separate to the live chat show, and it's called Waking the Dead Ghost Stories and the
Oh,
Paranormal. The links are out there. Um, if anyone has any ghost stories or paranormal experiences, there's an email out there, which is openmindspodcast at outlook.com. Please send me your experiences. And then what I will do is I go through the emails. I'm going to start off with um, around about six podcasts at first. They won't be visual, it'll be an audio, so you don't have to worry about, your face. And the best ones I think are really interesting. I would invite you for a chat first and then record for the podcast. So um, if you're interested and you have a really good ghost story or really good paranormal story, please get in contact with me at Open Minds Podcast. And that's that. Right now, I've sold myself shamelessly. Welcome to the show, Cassandra.
thank you, Gloria. I
Hmm.
do have some ghost stories for you, so I might be sending some in.
Oh, hell yeah, do. They've already started coming in. All you got to do, put it in the email, and I will look at them. And I'm looking at some really good ghost stories, really good paranormal events to bring in under the one umbrella of the paranormal
Mhm.
everything, whether
Mhm.
it's astral projection or whether it's ET contact. Most people exclude ghost stories, but it's part of, these are energy beings that once were human.
Right.
So I'm trying to expand and get it, not separate in different departments, to bring it all into one. And I think it's going to be fascinating. So do send it in, Cassandra.
Oh,
But
yeah. Yeah.
today we are going to talk about your spiritual journey and where it began, and that was at your near death experience around about 25 years ago.
Probably more about 30 now. So
Okay.
I need to update my bio, but it just actually seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with
So,
you.
I mean, seriously, it was like it was yesterday. Um, I was in a pickup truck with my first husband at the time,
Hmm.
and I'm being blinded real quick, so hold
Yeah,
on.
I can see the light shining on you, darling.
Well, it is. Okay.
The light's not shining on me, guys, as you can see, but there you go.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here. So I was with my second husband, and it was on a Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
And he decided to drive drunk. And when he was doing that, we went through an intersection. And when we did that, he went in on a red light and then the other oncoming traffic, and we kind of T-boned the other
Hmm.
car. Well, when we did that, I went through the windshield and I went through it. I came back, and then I was lodged underneath the dash
Wow.
of the car. Yeah, and I mean, this was before you had to wear seatbelts.
Yeah.
So the minute my head hit the windshield, everything went black. I mean, I remember that. It's like
Mm.
it was gone. And then the next thing I remember was waking up a little bit because I was at the hospital and the ambulance drivers were pulling me out of the ambulance, and it shook me a little bit. So I woke up, I opened my eyes, and then I shut them again.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I knew, I was just allowing my spirit to come out my mouth. I just, instead of taking in a breath, it was
You
out.
don't know. Yeah.
And And I look, I'm coming out of my body, and I look down at my body, and I kind of went, I didn't, it didn't bother me. It's like, oh, okay, because I'm
Mm.
floating. I'm
Yeah,
floating.
yeah.
And I thought, well, okay, enough of that. And so I started going up through the floors in the hospital, which was really cool because I'm
That
going
must
through all the.
that must have been fun.
It really was, and effortless. I mean, it's just a natural thing like walking. But I was just going up through each floor in the hospital. You go through the wires and the concrete, and then you go to the floor and you keep
Mm.
going. And then I found myself up on the roof of the hospital. And it was nighttime in Phoenix, Arizona.
Hmm.
And I'm hovering on the roof. Hovering is so much fun because you are just you're a free spirit, literally a
Yeah,
free
yeah.
spirit. And I remember looking around and I looked up at the stars and I thought, I want to be there.
Mm.
And the next thing I knew, I was.
Yeah.
So it's just, I thought it and I was there. So I'm in.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you realize basically you were dead at that
Yeah,
moment or not? You realized you had died. Okay, physical death,
yeah,
so to speak. Yeah. You
yeah,
go
I
on.
did
Sorry.
because when I was up at the in the stars, I kept looking around. I remember my head kept going back and forth, and my hair would follow me, and it was
Yeah,
like slow
yeah.
motion. And I remember thinking, God, I'm dead. Now, where are you? And I'm just looking, where are you? I know I'm dead. Where are you? And I'm thinking this all the time. So when I'm thinking it out of the corner of my eye, I guess, I see a figure coming out of a door in the
Hmm.
middle of the sky. Okay. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's
it
logical.
can happen. It can happen. So, so this person comes up to me, and he was an older person, had gray hair, gray beard, very wise looking face, and, very simple dress.
Hmm.
And he came up to me and he said, would you like to come in here? I have some people that want to talk to you. And he
Hmm.
says, I'm your guide, and, come on in. And I said, yeah, I know, but I'm dead, so I got to find God. And he says, that's okay. We'll get you out there. And I said,
Yeah.
well, okay, you know. So I float on into the door. And when I'm in the room, I spoke to my guide.
Yeah.
And then in the other corner was my angel, which was
Hmm.
absolutely beautiful. It's like how they describe them. Maybe it was from the condition image that everybody puts out, but this was huge and
Hmm.
huge wings.
Yeah.
So I go to my angel gives me a message, and then I look over to my next side, and there's my ET there.
Hmm.
And I went over to that, and I wasn't afraid. There was no problem with it.
Well, can I ask what? Well, I don't like to say type, but what type of ET?
Um, when I look at it now, and no one's ever asked me that. Okay, so when I look at it now, the only thing I could do is describe what the ET looked like. So the ET was very, um, the colors I remember is really funny. It's like a shimmering dark green,
Yeah.
but it shimmered,
Yeah.
and large eyes. And it was almost like you could say a reptilian, but it wasn't a reptilian. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was a little scaly, or
Yeah.
snake
Wow.
skin,
Yeah.
and not very tall. But I don't know, it was my ET, so I don't know if it was from uh, my race, or and that was another person that was there. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's
Now
okay.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
I may have to think about that. Thank you very much. So
No pressure.
yeah, that being gave me a message also. And so I'm done. And then I went up to my guide again and I said, okay. I said, now I need to leave because I'm dead and I need to find God.
Oh,
And he
bless you.
said, all right. I mean, I'm like on a mission here.
Yeah,
I'm dead
yeah.
and I need to find God.
Find God. Yeah.
Get out of my way, people. So I walked out the door disappeared, and then I started to go upwards again. So I'm thinking, okay, God, where are you? So I start floating up, and I'm among all the stars and everything. It was beautiful. And then I see a green tunnel. So I see this tunnel. It was like an emerald green, and I
Yeah.
started to go through it. And when I went through it, I remember the feeling that I had when I was in that green tunnel. It was like I was just enveloped in love. It was a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through this tunnel, and then I look up at the end of the tunnel, I see this pinpoint of a light.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, God, there you are. I knew I was going to find you.
Yeah.
So traveling upwards, the light gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And then I went into that light.
Yeah.
So that's when I found out that God is not an old man sitting on a throne. God,
Shucks.
I know, go figure. God is
Yeah.
an energy.
Yeah.
So I'm in that God energy source and
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to God. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
I finally found you. I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I remember of that whole conversation was when I asked if I could stay. And the words I heard really upset me because I was told not yet.
Oh.
And the minute I hear not yet, I am slammed back into my body.
Mm-hmm.
And did it hurt? Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm lying in on a gurney or whatever with a sheet over my head,
Mm-hmm.
and I pull the sheet down, and then my neck had been crushed like an accordion,
Yeah.
hitting the windshield. And plus I had glass. I was laying on glass, which was cutting into my bottom,
Oh.
and I hurt everywhere. My knees were all banged up. I mean, just all came back. And plus, I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
my head was split open from here to here,
Mm-hmm.
so you could see my skull.
Ouch.
And they showed me that in the ER. So I'm lying there, and this nurse walks by, and next thing I know, I'm in the ER again.
Mm-hmm.
And the surgeon's in there, and he says, "Well, we need to sew this up." I just remember saying, "Well, I don't have any insurance. Can you just put a Band-Aid on it?"
As you do in traumatic moments like that,
I
my
know,
you
I'm
just
fine. Just put a Band-Aid on it.
no. I mean,
And
come on. You were still were you still consciously aware that you just had a conversation with God?
no, no,
That had
because
gone at that moment. So
no.
you were back to being Cassandra, the human being. I'm with you.
Well, let me backtrack. I remember when I slammed back into my body, I was extremely pissed.
Yeah, as you would
And
be.
and I remember like why? But that was it. I mean, I
Ah,
wasn't, I was mad.
yeah.
And then the surgeon showed me, with a mirror, no Band-Aid on this one. I'm like, okay. So anyway, I get home the next day, and I remember it's like I'm talking to all these people in my mind now,
Mm-hmm.
and I know who they are,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't because I
I'm with
just
you.
talked to them the night before. But they're talking to me in my mind, and I'm talking to them. It was very
Yeah.
natural. It was a natural conversation.
Did the voices that you people you were talking to or beings, did they just seem familiar to you? Familiar? Was it
Oh
a
yeah,
familiarity? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. It wasn't like, ooh, who are you?
yeah.
It was, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they were saying, well, I don't know, I can't remember back that far, but we were having conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and I was having conversations with my guide
Mm-hmm.
at first, and then I would hear these things in my mind. It wasn't audible, thank God, but I I would answer with my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then life went on. So I always did this every single day. I always had conversations with my guide.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met my very, very dear friend, and we started talking, and I told her about some of these things, and she
Mm-hmm.
goes, tell me more. Instead of
Like
like,
me, nosy. I'm always nosy. Yeah, go
oh
on.
yeah, she goes, tell me more, because she
Mm-hmm.
was so fascinated that I could hear my guides.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, how can you do that? I said, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I just hear them. And she's tell me everything, what's going on. And then she started to get me into reading the tarot cards.
Yeah.
And then you start developing more and more and more when
Mm-hmm.
you're
Mm-hmm.
reading cards. You just can't not do that,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah. Yeah.
connecting with
So
you.
did you find that the psychic abilities that were prior to the near death experience were dormant after that, and then meeting your friend and start being like drawn to the cards? Did you find the psychic abilities that were innate in you started to awaken and materialize, manifest, should I say?
Yeah, I would have to say that, because I'm thinking back now, I always had
Yeah.
a feeling, and I
Yeah.
just it
Yeah.
was feeling.
Yeah.
Um, and then I would also start healing, like, my animals, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
put my hands on them. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing,
No.
but I always had a feeling.
Yeah.
And when I did that, and afterwards, yes, it all started to come together,
Mm-hmm.
and it did open that up. So what happens is, in a traumatic experience like that, that had to happen in order for me to open up
Yeah.
and telepathically, because
Yeah.
that's what was going on. Was I had this telepathic connection, from them to me and me to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out later on that I had a telepathic connection with other people's guides, or
Yeah.
people who crossed over.
Yeah.
And my friend again was encouraging me, tell me more, tell me more. And it's like, well, this is what I see, this is what I hear. This isn't my guide. This is, who you want to know about. So she
Mm-hmm.
had her own personal reader, and I didn't know it. So anyway, but that started me, getting into this more.
Mm-hmm.
So the years went on, and I was all about my spirit guide until I started to get messages from my angel.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm connected to that angelic realm,
Mm-hmm.
and I have my guides, my angels, and I had both of them for years. And then just until recently, so I'd say about maybe 8 or 9 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I had the connection with my ET.
Ah.
So it all went in order. Just the way I
Beautiful.
met them, it all went in order.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started to have a connection with the ETs, the weird thing about it, like, it is weird anyway, but the
Yeah.
more
Yeah. Yeah.
weird about it is, I remember driving one day, and then all of a sudden just breaking out into this language.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want to say babbling, but I'm just talking along, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
This is, but it wasn't weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, again, natural and normal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind, I have told nobody that I talk to guides and I talk to angels.
Mm-hmm.
This was my thing. It wasn't
Yeah.
anyone else's.
Yeah.
Um, but when I started talking to ETs, and the first directive I got from them was to draw them. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, we need you to draw us. And I'm like, well, how am I going to do that? So I stopped, and I got, some paper, pastels, and drawing paper. And I thought, okay, fine. I'll draw you.
Mm-hmm.
You asked for it. So I'm sitting down, And I started drawing, and I have no idea what I'm going to draw. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden, this image appears, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, this is amazing. This is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And then they would give me their name,
Yeah.
their race, and then tell me a little bit about them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, this is fun.
Yeah.
And the husband I was married to at that time, he kind of looks at it and he goes, I could never do that. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I don't have an imagination like that. I said, neither do I.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah. And I
I
told him,
mean,
like,
hold on a second. Hold on. I've got to pump the brakes here. I
okay.
mean, how did, as these experiences advance, so, um, you'd be talking to your guide, okay, we can get on with the human life with that. And then you're talking to the angel, okay, you can, yeah. And then you got an ET. I mean, how did these experience of the contact with such beings, how did that, if it did, change your reality, your human reality, what you were normally doing? How did it must have affected? Did you move? Did you divorce? Did you, I don't know what, because from personally and from other journeys I've heard, that every time something like comes along and
Mhm.
with such an impact, even though we think, yeah, it's cool, it's okay, it shifts
Yeah.
something else. Did it affect you that way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I mentioned my husband's, I go by numbers. Okay.
Yes. Oh God. How many? How many?
Well, I'm just going to mention two right now. So
Okay, fair
the
play.
first one, of course, he was the one who killed me,
Yeah.
and he didn't want to hear about it. He didn't want to hear about what happened to me when I had
Mm-hmm.
my near death
Mm-hmm.
because the guilt.
Yeah.
So after a while, of course, we grew very much apart
Yeah.
because he still stayed in his uh, lower vibration
Yeah.
because he was an alcoholic, and he hadn't grown much, and
Yeah.
I started to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, when somebody looks at you and say, "Well, I think we're growing apart," it's probably true if they say that. It's like, yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
true. I'm growing here and you're staying here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have nothing, in common. And then my second husband kind of wanted to exploit it, if you want
Yeah, I'm
to.
with you. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, well, get out there and, do readings. And, I didn't tell him much about the ET stuff until
Mm-hmm.
later. Again, the ET stuff was um, kept it quiet, you know.
Yeah.
So I did start doing readings. I did, he pushed me, let's start doing let's start doing readings. Well, there's no there's me. Start
Yeah.
doing readings.
Yeah.
So I started doing readings, which helped me because I was still connected to um, other people's people,
Yeah. I'm with
so
you.
it kept that channel open instead of just for me. And then when I started doing the ET part, it was again, well, I was on a couple of TV shows, and, he's like, oh, well, this is our chance,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to make money. It's like, no, it's my chance,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I could be your manager. Oh,
Oh,
no.
that was oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, well, no, but that was the part that opened up too, because I think I told you about Cynthia Crawford, and
Yeah.
I bet some of your listeners know who she is or was.
Yeah.
Um, and I gave her a reading, the first reading I ever gave, in the galactic language is what I call it. It is not light language, it is galactic language.
Okay.
Mine is. Other people have light language or whatever they want to call it, because I speak the language of your star family.
I'm with
So
you.
it's a galactic language.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to give her a reading one day, and she's, the ET sculptor and everything.
Yeah.
And I had gotten some ET cards, tarot cards, and she's like, well, okay, you can give me a reading. I'm like, okay. So I'm like all freaked out and everything. I'm getting ready to, give her a reading. We're on Skype. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, my hands are sweating. I'm really freaked out. And
Mm.
my guides just said right then and there, well, my ET guides, I have them all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they said, well, you're going to give her a message in the galactic language. And I said, no, I'm not.
No, no, no.
Nope, 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 nope. And then they said, well, yes, you are. And I said, no, no, that's just between us. And then they said, would you?
Mm.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So at that very moment, Cynthia had called, so I couldn't really back out.
No.
And I told her, I said, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
give you a message in your star family's language, and I don't know what they're going to do with it. And she said, oh my gosh. She goes, wait a minute. So she gets up, comes back, and she has the recorder, and she goes,
No
I know,
pressure.
I
No
know,
pressure. Oh God.
yeah. And then she goes, okay, I'm ready. And I'm like, you're going to record this? And she goes, oh yeah, yeah. Oh God, okay, fine. So I just started to give her a message and I finished. And I think that they gave her a translation because that's what happens sometimes. I'll give the
Mm.
message and then immediately after they will give a translation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they don't. But I opened my eyes and she just was just sitting there like, and that started the whole helping people, find their star families and letting them know that it's okay to see ships. It's okay to,
Yeah.
see beings.
Yeah.
You're not crazy.
No.
When I went on, oh my God, who was he? Ugh, isn't that terrible? I've been on a couple of TV shows and
It's called brain fog. I get it
it
all the
is,
time.
it is.
Well, just say you went on a TV show. If the name pops out, you'll say, Google
Yeah.
it.
Anyway, I went on this TV show and I remember it was about experiencers.
Yeah.
So, or people who have experienced this,
Yeah.
because it's a TV show, they're not going to call it experiencers.
Mm.
Um, and these people were talking about their experiences, and then I'm in the audience, and then there's a critic also on this
Yeah.
TV show. Oh boy, that was fun. But I'm talking to them and, saying, yes, I understand where you're coming from. And yes, it's, perfectly natural because they were kind of freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to get on national TV and tell your story about how you were abducted or how you had a
No, I hear
visitation,
you. Yeah. Yeah.
right. And especially, people are just looking at it like, yeah, right. So the sun's moving in. Hold on.
Okay, we're live. We got live sunshine. She's always got the light shining on her.
I
I've got
do.
no light shining on me. Come
It's
on,
just all
guys.
around me. Yeah. So I went on that TV show, and then afterwards, I had so many emails.
Hmm.
And these emails were from people who say, I want to know who my star family is. Or I've had this experience, or, and people were really weird about it. Like, well, I want to tell you about, something, if I called them, they'd be hem-hawing around. And I
Hmm.
said, what do you want to tell me? And he says, well, I thought I saw a ship the other day. And I said, tell me more.
Hmm.
Because people, it was like me with the galactic language. I didn't want anybody to know about it, not because I
Yeah.
was ashamed of it, but because it was a special part of
Hmm.
me and, what had happened. But
Hmm.
these people were afraid that no one else would understand.
I hear you. Yeah, I've been in that position way back in the day. I know exactly how that feels, and many of the guests that have come on my shows and podcasts have all spoke about this, and I think that's why today many of us around the world, and we run groups and everything, so there's a safe space where they can. I always say, come out the closet.
Yeah,
It's okay
yeah,
now. Yeah, come out the closet. It's fine. Um, Obviously, because now back in the day there was a lot of ridicule, but because your Pentagon and their non-disclosure said, basically it's real. The ridicule, you get the odd, arsehole that thinks they're whatever.
right,
These
right.
people that object to it, for me, I've started to see them as they want to experience it. And because they don't, and the ego comes in and they start sort of bombarding it, but they really would like to experience, or they have experienced and they're still not ready to come out. So they're resisting. So, but today it's more open than back in the day when we were younger, not too long ago, Cassandra. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not too long ago.
I have to think really hard, but yes, I remember it.
Yeah. Not too long ago. We just leave it at that one.
Yeah,
But it's true. So obviously, if you're going on a live TV show in the audience, it's all coming, and you've spoken, and people are going to, but that attracts you. But that is the whole point of it, isn't it? It
right.
seems to be now, all of us doing the shows, the podcasts, or running the groups, or going on another person's show, it attracts the
Yeah.
ones that need to find someone they resonate with, a safe space that they can start sharing their experience. Does that resonate with you?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
When I'm on, I was on Chris's show.
Mm.
Actually, he did we do another live when he reran one of the first shows,
Yeah.
and yeah, people contacted me. You
Yeah.
know, either dealing with ETs or just wanting
Yeah.
to get a reading. And
Yeah.
connecting with other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, people are searching for a like-minded
Yeah.
um, community,
Yeah.
or even someone that can actually help them right then and there.
Yeah.
So, I always look at it like people who are supposed to come to me are led there.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
come on in. I
I
really
mean,
don't have to look for clients.
no, no. I mean, I've found that you don't need to do anything.
Right.
It just happens. And even if you get the what we call the skeptics,
Yeah.
as I just said, either they want to experience it, but then the ego won't let them open up and some humility come in, or they have experienced it, which the majority have of humanity, and they just still have this fear. They've got this fear, and they're just pulling back. They're just pulling back. But I always say, there were many shows online now speaking of contact experiences,
Mhm.
and everything about it. And if they were truly that skeptical, they wouldn't go and watch the show.
Right.
And I'm aware of that. So even when they get a bit silly with their terminologies, it's at the top. It's like water off a duck's back. But I say, oh, at least they watched it. Who knows? Maybe a little way down the line, they'll have, because I think it does take some form from the human concept, a bit of courage, a bit of effort to come out. I mean, I don't know if I told you, I sort of really come out the closet after a lifetime of it when I had Mary Rodwell on the show. I'd spoken, I started to talk about it between friends and the odd hint. And when I had her on the show, she just cracked me open. I don't think she intended to do it. And I just started. And as I'm coming out saying, well, this happened and that, in my head, I'm going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
It was just like, but after that, nothing stopped me. And I
Right.
thought it would be fearful, but it wasn't. It wasn't fearful. And I
Right.
think if anyone watching that has ET experiences or interest in that, and you think there's going to be a backlash or some fear is going to happen and dread, no, when you do it, there's nothing. In fact, again, I use the word that I used earlier on in the show today, is freedom. It's a freedom to express your truth. And
Oh
why
yeah.
shouldn't we? Yeah.
Very much so. Because when people find someone or a group or whoever that actually has this in common and
Hmm.
they aren't judging, then if they could sit there and they could say, yes, this is my experience and I've never told this to anyone. How many times have
Yeah,
you heard that?
yeah, many,
I have
many
never,
times. Yeah.
never told this to anyone about what
Mhm.
happened.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's like, well, let's get on with it and free
Mhm.
yourself of it,
Yeah.
because the thing
Yeah.
of it is, whatever your experiences is, or experience was, is, or are,
Hmm.
you, when you speak it, then you
Hmm.
get more of it.
Absolutely. I mean, did you also find that when you come out the closet for yourself personally, or even in the groups, they, I know I went, someone else has experienced this. That was the first shock. There's another one that experienced it, and another and another. Have you seen grey beings since you was a child? Yep. Wow, I thought I was the
Yeah,
only
that's the
one in the
only
world.
one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's so many benefits from, you know, speaking to somebody, and I've seen that when I've been approached, and I say, tell me what, what's your experience, and they go, da, da, da. And I went, yeah, well, I've experienced that. They went, what?
Yeah.
You've experienced? I said, yeah, and it gives a release, doesn't it? It's a release to explore it even more, and that, I think, stops blocks and fears, and then they can recall a bit more and a bit
Mhm.
more, and they become easier as they go into expanding on their experience. I've got to say, with your ones, I mean, everyone comes into this in different ways, and it's how it should be. It's how it
Mhm.
should be. But what a way to come in! And I keep hearing it in my head. I'm dead. I need to find God. I mean, I love that. I love that. And I've
Yeah.
said to you this before. When I was a small child, a toddler, I would go around, due to the social determinants, what I was brought into. I
Mhm.
would go around, God, if you exist, kill my mother. God, if you, and I've said before, what total polarities
Right.
we came
Right.
in with. However, we've ended up in the same space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kept saying, will you kill her? And he never did, obviously, because he wasn't a man with a beard. Do you know what I mean? And then I realized, oops, okay. Anyway, we won't go down that road. So,
Yeah.
with all your experiences, so you've done the tarot, you've gone on the shows. What comes next in your reality?
Well, I actually created my own deck of oracle cards with
Mm-hmm.
my drawings,
Yeah.
and I've written a couple of books about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one was 2012, Coming Out of the Coma,
Yeah.
which was totally channeled, and it was by the beings.
Yeah.
So I wrote that one in like 30 days.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting, um, how, it just flowed.
Yeah.
It flowed. And then I had someone who I was going to have them do like an audio book of it.
Yeah.
And he said, it's really weird when I'm speaking this, it's like there's a rhythm to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, well, what's so weird about that? I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote that one, and then I wrote a companion book to the cards, and
Yeah.
then another book about some of the messages. So
Mm-hmm.
it's Star Family Messages, a mission of exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So what this was about was the beings were answering questions
Mm-hmm.
that had been asked of
Yeah.
me a lot
Mm.
in readings, and then they were saying other things, and it was a mission of exchange. So they
Yeah.
wanted to exchange
Yeah.
their information to us. And
Can I ask, before we go any further, for the audience, where can, if anyone's interested in your cards and books, where can they obtain these?
the books are on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and the cards, you do need to contact me, because I need to order
Yeah,
more,
I'm
and
with you.
depending on how many people there, and then I will mail it to you.
Okay, just thought I'd get that one in. So please do go on.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I can't remember where we were.
No, I've thrown you there. I just wanted to get that out. I
You
often do
did.
that. So you're at the point where
Oh,
you've
where am I going now? Okay,
so you've
what
done the
next?
cards, you've done the books, and so we're now in the now. Where are we going from here?
I don't know. I still do the readings. As far as psychic and star family readings, I am teaching now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. It was funny because I was reading a book the other day and it was talking about your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Find your passion.
Yeah.
And why I'm reading that, I don't know. It's like I know what I do. I love to do this. This is the
Mm-hmm.
only thing I do for a living. But the thing that I really love
Mm-hmm.
is teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks to you, my dear, I have my own Zoom account now.
Ooh, you're
I
welcome.
look at me. And I have redone my website, which
Mm-hmm.
is CassandraVanzant.com,
Mm-hmm.
to where I have all my classes on there that are going to be Zoom classes.
Brilliant.
So, individually or groups, I don't care how you want to come to it, but
Mm-hmm.
anything that you want to learn. I mean, I've put some things on there that I will teach, but I also tailor classes. So
Yeah.
whatever it is that you really want to learn about, like telepathy,
Mhm.
because I would love to teach telepathy to people.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a workshop and taught telepathy to
Yeah,
mediums because the reason I've done taught these is it's for mediums to enhance their mediumship, to enhance their connection to source, to enhance the self-realization. So yeah, I used the Zoom. I told you it was brilliant, didn't I?
it
I
is. Yeah,
I've done telepathy workshops. I've done remote viewing workshops. I've done psychic detective workshops, and I'm just starting a new one um, on the 9th of a 6-week workshop, um, cold case. So I have, because that was part of my career
yeah,
when I was working, that was part of what I would do as a criminologist. So I love it. I'm sure, I don't know if it's the same as you, but I'm sure it's similar. I love it when they get it. When they
yeah,
say, I can do this, I'm going, I don't
yeah.
even need to teach you. You know this shit already, but
Right.
here's a few pointers. So even for me, I say I love it, but I don't like the word teaching. I'm just reminding them of who they are and what they can do. But yeah, it is. And isn't Zoom bloody amazing?
It is.
Yeah, I
It
love
is.
it.
I had my first reading on it, to tell you the truth. So it
Woo!
worked out really well. And I'm
Yeah,
like, hey, I think I could do
yeah.
something with this.
It's a good platform
Yeah.
for things like that. I also run, and it's on tonight, an experiences group
Hmm.
for coming in and sharing their experiences in a safe space. And I run a medium group where they practice their mediumship.
Yeah.
Um, and I just link in with them, and if they need any help, I give it to them. But they're all bloody amazing. I mean, I generally, I'm not the soft, gentle person. I kick ass. I just say, you know who you are, just do it and get over yourself, and boom, they shine.
Right.
And yeah, that's
Right.
the way I go. So, but Zoom is really. I haven't got any shares in Zoom, by the way. I'm just saying, I
Oh,
found it,
yeah.
yeah, a really good platform. And now I'm on StreamYard, so this one. And I was on StreamYard with Open Minds, it'd be a year ago, on the 9th of February, actually. Um, and then I went to record it, and I've come back because obviously my media platforms are now growing. So
Yes.
the next step will be StreamYard, honey, after you mastered the Zoom, you
I
know?
can do it. Yep. Yep. I
Yeah,
can do it.
it's gonna go. So you're offering is it is your web page linked? Did you send it to me? I don't think you did because I did.
I don't think I did. No. What is it's CassandraVanzant.com.
Okay, but maybe later I can always add it. I've advertised you coming on the show.
Yeah.
Um, Send it to me later, and I'll add it to the link so people can go on there
Yeah.
and see what you're offering. I mean, did you ever believe before the accident, before the first husband tried to kill you?
He
You know,
tried to kill me twice, actually, but
oh well, there you go. What can I say?
yeah.
Did who was the? I'm gonna now to put everything in perspective. Who was the girl before your ex-husband tried to kill you? What? Who was you then? I mean, you could. I look back now and go, Gloria, you were such an arsehole. One, you were a drama queen too, and all the rest of it. And I like to, because when you do look back at this stage, you look at it with a different perception.
Hmm.
And personally, I laugh. I think, oh my God, that was a ride. So do you recall the girl you were before you nearly got killed, or you did get
Yeah.
killed?
Um. Um. Just my. It's like my favorite word was okay.
Yes,
That meant, well, we're gonna do this. Well, okay. I mean,
yes,
I didn't have a voice in it, and if I did, it'd be shut down.
yes, yeah. Same here. I
Yeah.
never said okay. I just said yes.
No,
Yeah,
I just went, okay. You
yeah.
know,
It's a
we're
yes,
moving,
yes
we're
person.
moving cross country. Okay.
Yeah,
We're doing this. Okay.
yeah,
So I was the okay girl.
yeah,
It's like whatever. Okay.
yeah,
But I also remember being in a very dark space a lot.
yeah,
I mean, even as a kid,
yeah,
very, very dark space
yeah.
because of how I grew up. I think I shared with you that, right? Yeah. So that was when I actually started. I never knew I even had it, but I want to say that's when I was more intuitive because
Yeah.
I was trying to survive.
Same here. We spoke about this.
Right.
It
Right.
was like when we had the conversation before. My way of expressing it is, as childhood was, I was like a wild animal trying to survive daily. So the intuitiveness, the sixth sense, and the psychic sixth sense was heightened to such a degree
Right.
to read any situation, even minutes
Before. Yeah.
or an hours before
Right.
another being was coming, that and you just lived in that state of
Yeah.
high alert, in a psychic high alert. So it was a very when I look back, I can see it now. It was a very exhausting energy to persistently staying. However, it was like training. It was a learning curve. And I
Yeah.
must admit, when I do my stuff now with I'm more of a rescue medium, but when I do that, um, I do it and then I sit back and I just shut down. I think, "Oh, that's nice." But when we
Yeah.
were children,
Yeah.
there was no shutting down. It could be in the middle of the night, it could be early hours, it could be any time, and you didn't even really sleep. I know for me, I didn't sleep. Um, at night, not because of the physical that was in the day, but because I had ET and going off places and all that in the night. So it was like 24/7.
Right. Right.
I used to be exceptionally skinny. Can you believe it? Hello. Um, it's like I'm tired. Boy, was I tired. But yeah, it's I look back and I think, wow. And I think why I asked that question, and I do it for myself, it's about, and I spoke about this again today on a show I recorded that will come out later on, Forbidden Knowledge News Network, guys. Inception podcast out later, is the fact that when you look back, you can see how over
Mhm.
the time the value you started to give yourself.
Right.
You look at it and you go, "Oh my God," and the changes, like when you said to the second husband, "What do you mean us?" No, it's manipulation. We stop saying okay. We stop saying
Right.
yes. We start to value ourselves more. And when I look back now, and you can actually look back and see the role we played then, we had no value. We didn't see any value in ourselves at
Nothing.
that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I find it beautiful that you can come from one extreme, come all the way through that until you go, wow, I'm here
Yeah.
now. Does
I
that
mean,
resonate with you?
I'm to the point now where I'm. I mean, I'm totally independent now. You
Mm,
know,
yeah,
I bought my home.
yeah.
Bought my cars.
Mm,
I, have my own business. I don't
hmm.
work for anyone else.
No,
And I was thinking about this yesterday because I had when I came out here, when I moved, I had, and actually I said knew where I was going. Nobody
Yeah.
told me I'm
Yeah.
moving here. You know,
Yeah.
when I came out here, I bought a pickup truck because I
Hmm.
always wanted one.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what the heck?
Yeah.
Well, the other day I'm thinking, I don't want this pickup truck anymore. So I zoomed down to the car dealership and I bought an SUV.
Yeah.
I haven't even had the pickup truck for a year. Okay, that's
Yeah.
unheard of because you never get rid of your cars.
Hmm.
You never get what you like. You get stuck with what you have.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, look at me.
Yeah.
I don't like it, so I'm trading it in. You know,
Yeah.
I can
Mm.
do this. So the
And
difference.
yeah, it's a case. I had this on this the show earlier on
Mhm,
about us being creating our reality through valuing yourself. I
right.
mean, mine was months ago. I was going. I'm because we've got the mainland here, UK, and then we've got islands around us that are still UK, and one is the Isle of Wight. And I said, I want to go to. I'm going to the Isle of Wight, and it's just going to happen. Long story short, it happened. I went all over the Christmas holiday period. I
Oh,
had an absolutely amazing paranormal, ghostly experience, especially in the hotel I was in.
oh my
Oh, for
gosh.
God's sake, it was really. I called it a place of the dead. It was so dead with spirits running everywhere. But I just said, I'm going to do it. It will
Yeah,
happen, and it did, and it happened. And then I made the decision when I'm there. I'm moving here. And I come back last week, I think just about a week I'm back, and I said, right, I'm going to move. And I know I will move. I don't put an outcome time. I just know it's going to happen.
right.
So I resonate with what you're
Yeah,
saying. So there's a complete difference. If anyone watching there's no competition in this, okay? And I used to at one point look at others and go, oh, I wish I could do that. But no, all you got to do is where you are now. Look back at where you was, like we've just done,
right,
and look where you are now.
right.
You would have achieved milestones, especially if you're listening to this program or any other like this.
Of
So
course.
yeah, yeah, and I find that's a good is it a barometer, whatever you say, to measure if you need to. And I think every so often we need to look back just to realize to keep the what's the word I'm looking
Perspective.
for. Ah,
Perspective.
yeah, well done. You see, I lost my words there. To keep it in perspective where we are, and that
Right.
just gives you more self value. And I was talking to another guest, and I remember, when I first did the first live show on Open Minds. Prior to that, I had body dysmorphia. Yeah, but
Okay.
something was pushing me, and I did the shows live every week, and I never watched them because of
Yeah.
the. So, but then as you do the work on yourself and the beings come in and blah, blah, blah. And then one day I had a guest on, I can't recall who it was, really interesting guest. And I was replaying in my head, wow, I need to look at that. I need to learn. So I thought, watch it. And so I just put on the replay. I watched it all, forgot it was me interviewing, forgot. And it was maybe halfway through. And I went, wow, she's good. Wow, she asked really cool questions. She got them there. And I went,
Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah.
Boom. And ever since then, I'll come in plaits, I'll have my hair down, makeup on, makeup off. It really doesn't matter. There's no more self image anymore. But it took me going on doing live. And the next one come along was when I was invited to go. I think Chris Matthew invited me on his show first. I can't recall who it was first. And I went, yeah, of course I will. And then afterwards I went, oh my God,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know anything. And then it's like,
It just comes
just
out.
just comes out as it normally does. Okay, I let it go. And I just went on and did my shit, and the next one and the next one and the next one. And I will say, I don't want to know your questions. Just ask me anything. If I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I won't reply. So for the audience, it's like these are the things you can notice about yourself by
Right.
looking back to where you are today. Now, at the moment, you've got your Zoom. You're all new on that. You've got all your classes. Um, will you be writing another book, do you think?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that was quick. Yes.
Oh, God, I'm already writing it. That's why.
So are we allowed to have a little bit of what it's about? So, share a
Uh,
little.
it's basically right now, it's kind of like my life story,
Yeah.
but it's going to turn into something else because the title is From Earth to the Stars.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. And you can
Yeah.
bet your life it's going to be an amazing book.
Yeah,
Do you
I
know,
hope so.
the
Yeah.
hour goes too quick, Cassandra. It just goes
Yeah.
too quick. But I will be bringing you back on the show again, whether it be Inception or Open Minds. But however, you've told me you have some amazing ghost stories. So
Yes.
I'm going to get you to write that email to me at openmindspodcast@outlook.com.
Okay.
And you may be on the new podcast, the Open Mind Podcast, Waking the Dead, Ghost Stories.
I
So
love that.
it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, is there anything you want to say or leave to anyone watching about the topics we spoke about today you'd like to
Uh,
share before we go?
the I just want to invite people if they do need to find out anything, or whether it be psychic or ET or whatever. If I can help you, just please go to my website, and you could book your own appointment then, or you can call me and we'll talk, and if see if I'm the right fit for you. But I know that the people that are supposed to come to me will,
Yeah.
and I'm just putting out this invite that I'm here for you.
That's lovely. Well, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you.
Open Minds Chat Show. I look forward to having you back on. And thank you, everybody, for watching Open Minds Chat Show and obviously the Inception. And I look forward to the next time we meet. I'm sure there's going to be more experience. You can give us an update on your Zoom rooms and the book. So you've got to come back when you're ready to publish, and then we'll advertise it on
Yeah.
Open Minds. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we got it. We'll get it out there. Until the next time, everybody, and my next conversation, bye for now.